It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
This is Straight Talk with Enlive Greg Penn, the Preacher Man, and his sidekick Shannon Jones. Frank discussions of issues affecting the ATL, Fulton County, the state of Georgia, the nation, and around the world. And now, here they are, live and in living color, the team of Jones and Fan, the Preacher Man.
Great talk with Joe to the great fan, the Preacher Man, and Bishop Rollins. Tate, he's back from Oklahoma. All right.
Tulsa,
Oklahoma. Tulsa.
Yeah.
Tulsa. He was at Tulsa.
Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Man,
Yes.
he's at Tulsa. Good. Ron back
Yes,
with
sir.
me.
Glad to be
Hey,
here.
school is out and land. Ron,
Just
so
make me
glad.
dance every time.
And we got Deacon Rollins, one of our guests here today. He's going to be with us today, and we're going to have a really good show today. And just keep taking notes. Okay. All right. So then what we're going to do, we're going to, let's talk. You talked about this before. You asked this question in terms of boycott. The NAACP is calling on a boycott of all black athletes not to go to these schools, to go to HBU schools. Let's hit them in the pocket because these people making millions of dollars off of black athletes, right?
Yes.
So, and we're going to talk about that today. And what you think about it? I'm going to start with Brother Jimson. I'm going to start with him. He's new to the show. Let me start with him. Let's see what he's got to say. What's his thoughts about that, Jimson?
Currently, I don't believe that we should put that in the hands of 17, 18-year-olds to make that decision to forfeit the money that they will be getting from the NILs for this, I'm gonna say, boycott that everybody else ain't doing. We leaving it up to kids getting out of high school who's never gonna see this type of money that they're gonna get right off the bat. And we're telling them that, okay, we want y'all to not go to the SEC schools, but you can go to the Big 10 and Big 12 and go up north. But when these students go from not going to the SEC schools and they go to the schools on north and to the West Coast, it's going to knock other black students that wouldn't be getting that scholarship to go to the University of Alabama or Georgia. And then we're going to knock them out of there. I just think that is wrong when we don't allow our community to get too relaxed. We done got retirement funds. We got better jobs now. So we didn't have no struggle. Now we want to put it back on the kids to make a decision about boycotting something that some of them are just now being able to vote for the first time. So how is that right?
All right. Well, this is going to be I can tell you right now, this is really going to be a discussion here. Ron, you got to think. No, don't tell you. You got to think.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I'm going to be good because I'm going to be fired up. I'm ready to go. I'm fired up, ready to go. I like what Jimson said, but I got a few things I'm going to say against what Jimson said. But you're going to say what you got to say.
Right.
So I can be against what you say, too.
That's fine. Well, I wrote down this word.
Oh, you wrote?
Yeah, I write down things.
Okay.
They're not asking the student athletes to forfeit money. They're asking them to get it somewhere else. So if they were saying, don't go and play football anywhere, if you have a scholarship at the SEC level, you have a scholarship around the country. Now, to your point where if I go to X school, that means somebody else is going to fall off. That's just how it is. If I'm a 5-star and I decide to transfer, I mean, they have 105 roster and that's on their roster and somebody's going to have to drop off and there will be transfers. what they did do, now whether or not this is feasible or not, they gave a solution. Transfer to other schools. Now, my concern would be, even as it relates to HBCUs, the money, the NILs, how will these kids get this NIL because the HBCUs do not have it? So I'm saying, would our entertainers, these people who are fluent, would they be willing to create a fund? I'm not talking about $1 million fund. This has to be
billions.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it can sustain the number of athletes that Deacon Jemison is saying. So if I cannot go to a Big Ten school, however, I could go to the SWAC or the MEAC, and I'm still going to get my 800,000. But I'm not going to go to somewhere where I could go to the SEC and get even 600,000. And then you want me to go somewhere else, I'm going to get 80,000. So that's not right. So there's a lot of moving parts to this if it's to happen.
Well, I'm gonna let Ron speak, and then I got something to say to y'all. You best don't know it. I'm just waiting on you, Ron, to see if you over there with them or where you at.
Well,
tell me where you at, Ron. Where you at?
This political maneuvering brings up a lot of the Black Power critiques on civil rights organizations all the way back in the 60s. I remember hearing Malcolm X, Stokely Carmichael, Kwame Ture later in life. They would critique that so many times in our community, the leaders and the points of leverage in our community come from the entertainment field, ball players, actors, and our ministers and business leaders are nowhere to be found in a time in which our community needs political leadership. We are now throwing the ball at 18 and 19-year-olds who've done their job in terms of making themselves economically viable. And it's a philosophical contradiction even almost, given that the NAACP led so many integration movements at these SEC schools. And so the integration movement now has provided some economic affluence and power and privilege to our young people. And now they need to relocate to other parts of the country to exercise their trade and exercise their talent, because the states where we still have the highest Black population concentration, states like Georgia, Mississippi, Florida, South Carolina, the states that make up the SEC, these are the states where we've allowed the GOP to have near supermajorities. I think they do got a supermajority at the state level in Mississippi. Here in Georgia, the state legislature has been red going back all the way, I think, to the Bible days. And we
do the Bible.
Oh,
wait. You about ready to make me jump in now?
Has liberals ever controlled the state government?
Yes,
here in the state of Georgia,
around 2012, there
was a majority Democrat.
It was
General Assembly in the state of Georgia in 2012.
It was the Dixiecrats. It wasn't the Democrats. It was the Dixiecrats.
So
no. We're going to talk about it because I'm going to get back to your point. You got to understand, when the Democrats, who were the Dixiecrats who held the Georgia, they did not vote for the raise the minimum wage or to do away with the right to vote. I mean, the right to work. They were Democrats with that. They were the Dixiecrats. Those are the people who were the Dixiecrats, who were Southerners. I'm gonna call them that. I'm gonna call them Southerners.
That's charitable.
That's charitable. That they were the one that were controlling and see, when you talk about, this is from an educational standpoint. See, when the Dixiecrats were running, when you had Tom Murphy, who was the Speaker of the House, who ran the state of Georgia. The Speaker of the House, Tom Murphy, was more powerful even than the governor of the state of Georgia at that time. But they were the Dixiecrats. They were the Dixiecrats. Mm-hmm. And so what you see is, that's when, I want you to say about it. I want you to follow me now. When Zigzag Zale changed from Republican to Democrat, because the Dixiecrats, who were really Republicans, they changed over to be Democrats because Democrats were winning because of Kennedy's and all the things that were happening then. But they were the Dixiecrats, right? Because you voted one slate, and if you voted Democrat, you were going to win, right? So but the attitude or the mindset was the same as it was when they were Republican. That's why when Zigzag Zale went back to being Republican, He didn't change. He was still the same person. So, I mean, I just wanted to educate you on that kind of stuff. You know, I said I was going to jump in here. I told you then go on a run.
Well, I think the point you bring up, Bishop, highlights the need
Yes.
for a new political strategy, because the current one that we have and the political positions that the black community has been maneuvered in states like Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, other SEC states, because the SEC is the premier league. It's the premier college athletic conference, and you get the most exposure. You get the highest draft order in the NFL or NBA. You know what? You know, we understand that the Big Ten has gotten some little measly titles in the last 3 years.
General statements. That's not true.
Well, if you look at what SEC coaches have made.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a minute. Well, let me bag back a little bit. I'm going to bag back a little bit because this finna get hot up in here.
Well,
he said it's not true. It's not true.
I say it's true because the SEC coaches have been paid at a higher rate than most other conference coaches throughout the last couple of generations. You look at the amount of coverage that SEC competition gets. 8 out of the top 10 nationally televised college football games typically happen in the SEC.
But do you understand how that happens? Go ahead. That's not true. Go ahead. That's not true.
Well, the reason why the NAACP is targeting the SEC schools is because of that prestige. And it's also the reason why it's viable for these other leagues like the Big Ten, Pac-12, because the NAACP is not telling black athletes to go to those other conferences because they are bastions of racial equality, that these other conferences are doing something. So bringing the millennium to the voter issues in the states where those schools are. I mean, black people are still having the same issues voting in Wisconsin, in Michigan, in Indiana, in New York that we're having in the South. But the South is the culture of the South is so fervently open about its racial caste system that we have been very explicit in saying, yes, we expect our black athletes to play on Saturday. We expect them to be in the basketball tournaments and the baseball tournaments, but we will gerrymander your state. We will control the income that your people are allowed to amass. And so because you have that duplicity, it just brings so much attention to the South that it artificially makes us believe that it's a viable political strategy to send our students to other regions of the country that really are just as bad as the South.
Yeah, but I don't believe that it will make a difference, because where the issue is not about the SEC. I know we're trying to say economically. However, it's about the non-voter. If the non-voters voted, we probably wouldn't be dealing with the issue that we're dealing with right now. So we wouldn't even be talking about boycotting the SEC. Why don't the NAACP focus on getting the non-voters out there to vote? You know, look at Louisiana, where the majority of the black people didn't even vote, didn't even go out there to vote. So you wouldn't have these issues if everybody would just go out there and do what they supposed to do and go vote.
Now, he done changed the strip. He done changed the strip on him. I'll tell you the first time on it. He done changed the strip. He done jumped off of the SEC and the ACC and the NAACP. He done jumped off all of that. He done said he getting back to the voter. He getting to the real call. He's talking about the voter.
That's like saying, yes, let's boycott the Falcons. I mean, what kind of impact it's going to have on the city of Atlanta? None.
But that's the economic impact.
We could do better by coming, you know, if I'm not mistaken, last Christmas, we said we're going to boycott on Black Friday. Did we do it? No. But now we want this.
Oh, don't forget Black Friday. What about Target?
Target, right? Yeah.
I mean,
we probably got 6 boycotts going on right now that we don't even know about.
I'm saying, but I think that you have more of an impact if it was entertainers, the entertainment business, because I would say that the SEC used to be the premier But it's all about regions now. You know, so whatever region, if you have a good football team in that region, they're going to be on TV. UCLA might not even be a good team, or USC, but in California, that's going to be the game that you're going to see on TV. You're not going to see the Georgia Bull Puppies. You're not going to see that.
Oh man, he called the Bulldog. Wait a minute, this is getting crazy. He called our Bulldog puppies. I mean, come on, man. No, you're not going to call our Bulldog no puppies. Not White High Bulldogs. I ain't talking about Georgia Bulldogs. You got to be careful when you talk about Bulldogs in this room now. It's a different night. You can't call our Bulldog no puppy. Now, I'm just telling you that.
That's because he was messing with me.
Okay, yeah. That's why not Bulldog. No, you can't call our Bulldog. No, we ain't puppies. No, we ain't no puppies. No. But let me just jump in and add for what you were saying and what Ron's saying. I think to your point, we have to move back to getting people voting. Yes. Period. The bottom line is voting, because we're not the 60s. We're not in the 60s. We're not in the 60s where you call for a boycott and people say, we're doing it. No, we're not there. I mean, even if the kids were not playing for Georgia, University of Georgia, Tennessee, or what have you, we still gonna go to the games. Yeah. We still gonna watch the game. We boycotts, economic boycotts like that it doesn't work like it did in the 60s. It just don't. It don't. Because if there are many people call boycotts, and the same people call boycott a Walmart, sitting up in Walmart, shopping at Walmart. Don't go to Walmart. You look at Walmart, you see the parking lot full of cars and people going to Walmart, right? Because they look for savings. But I think that you hit the nail on the head, though, you did. When you said it's getting people to the poll to vote, but you got to give people a reason to vote. And you can't, and the young folks, they don't want to hear nothing about who died, who went to jail and all of that. How does that affect my pocketbook? How does that affect my quality of living? And we'll be back after this commercial message with yours truly, Greg Fan, the Preacher Man, along with these guys.
Hi, Miss C here with your 3-minute news blast, or more or less. Hope you're doing well. Listen, the men's ministry of Antioch East Baptist presents United and Uplifted, a gospel and comedy experience on June 13th from 4 to 7 p.m. You're invited to enjoy a powerful event featuring the Harold Holloway Music Experience and comedian Cheryl Dowdle. The program will take place at the church at 2352 Old Rexmar Road in Ellenwood, Georgia. Dr. Michael A. Smith is senior pastor. Councilman J.C. Sebastian, District 4, and Representative Lydia Glaze, District 67, presents a men's health and wellness rally June 6, 11 to 3 at Fire Station 6, 6720 Cedar Grove Road in South Fulton, Georgia. There will be free PSA prostate tests, games, food trucks, car and bike show out, and good conversation. Guest presenters include Dr. Gregory Pollard, Bishop Aaron Lackey, Dr. Marshall Taggart, Dr. Jadeep Shahari, along with DJ J Smoke. World Youth Peace Summer Camp and Summit kicks off the Summer of Peace with a Peace Festival and Celebration of Unity June 1st at 5 p.m. at the Frankie Mae Arnold Stage in Fairburn, Georgia. Guest speakers include Stockbridge Mayor Jaden Williams and Fairburn Mayor Hattie Portis Jones. Bring the whole family and enjoy music, dancing, games, vendors, and more as the community comes together in unity for peace. A good time is to be had by all. And listen, before we go, I want you to like us. I'd like for you to subscribe to us, and you'll see those little buttons on the front there. And I'd like for you to leave comments. Let us know how we're doing. And number 4, share us. Let everybody know what you know. We are Straight Talk News, okay? And if you'd like for us to announce your event, just email it to us at straighttalknews1360.
I'm a different kind of threat. I can't be scared away or negotiated with. You can't call the cops on me.
Do you still want to hang out after?
I don't want your money or your TV. I don't even have to break in. I'm invited.
So we have the expert here. You got your numbers?
I have not, but I have some numbers.
Okay.
What do you want?
Well, let me just see what he have. What he have? I'm gonna tell you like the man in the box. What he have? What he have?
Well, you know, we can continue with a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about the states, because we couldn't get the information from a city, which we tried to do. And to Deacon Jimison's point, we had pulled up the number of voters in Mississippi. There was a total of, that were Democrats 456,000, and Republicans that's 563,000, and Independents almost 1 million. So when you give people a reason to vote, as you were talking about, if those 456,000 came out, and we get some of the independents, then these things could be flipped. So the message that the NAACP could work on in those respective states is to get voters out.
But let me I know you're doing the numbers. I'm gonna let you keep doing it. I think that the biggest problem with turning out the vote, the black vote, we keep talking about registering people to vote. We got the numbers now for people to vote. We got the number. We don't have to keep talking about, we're going to vote registration, we're going to register these many people. Right. And then you register folks and then they don't go vote, right? You got the numbers. You got to cultivate the registered voters now, and you have to give them, again, a reason to vote. What would be the reason that I would want to vote? Now, we all four of us, we vote. You know, we're regular voters. We're going to vote, you know, regardless as to whether it's the dog catcher race or whatever race it is, we're going to vote, right? Because we understand the point of voting. But the average voter don't understand, average person don't understand the reason to vote. They don't know about Reconstruction. They don't don't understand how bill is passed and how one faction controls and how another faction don't control. They don't understand that. And when they're educated on how that affects their quality of life and their pocketbooks, healthcare. Let's get to healthcare. Let's talk about healthcare. How many hospitals have we lost in Atlanta, Georgia? We've lost here in Atlanta, Georgia. How many urgent care centers have come up, right? And these little clinics, but hospitals, we're losing hospitals, but we're gaining urgent care centers. But we need hospitals, because if it's that serious, you need to be in the hospital. You don't need to be in the urgent care center. Putting a Band-Aid on something, you about to have a heart attack. And they talking about, well, we have a hospital, we got a greater study building, but it can't accommodate for the loss of all these hospitals we're losing. So these are things that people have to be educated on, that they're not really educated on how the votes tie to hospitals.
So Bishop, let me ask you this.
Sure.
So I agree, they need to be educated. So what do we do? So how would you suggest or recommend that they're educated at our age? And I'm just going to say, there are some people who are 30 and 40 who've never voted.
Right.
And so where do they get the information? How do we reach them? What do we tell them? I mean, who teaches them at this age?
Well, we got a teacher right here.
Yeah.
He'll tell you.
We keep acting like the act of voting itself is going to raise your wages, or the act of voting itself is going to give you health care for your parents, yourself, and your children. And that's not what's happening. You need political candidates and then people who are in office who are going to dedicate resources and policy to your constituents. And that's something that our representatives have been lackadaisical about for 3 generations now. So when you see Trump building a $2 billion slush fund to give to his acolytes who invaded the Capitol, that's when you see a politician that's taking care of his base. When you see the GOP and they have their think tanks that come up with their legislation that they are ramrodding through, whether it's the Muslim ban, whether it's tax cuts, whether it's the abortion ban, you see that their bottom line base are getting what they want from their politicians. We've been asking for mass incarceration reform in the Black community for 80 years. Where is a Black candidate talking about that? Reparations. Where is a Black candidate taking reparations seriously? When we talk about giving government contracts to Black businesses, where is a Black candidate talking about these issues? I went, like I said, this past gubernatorial primary in Clayton County, an 85% Black county. We go to the Democratic gubernatorial open forum, 5 Democrats on there, all of them Black, by the way. No one brings up the Black agenda. No one brings up wage disparity. Black Georgians are making what, 85% of what white Georgians make in the same jobs, and the economic and education disparities that we continue to see. Our schools continue to be dilapidated. Our schools continue to have technological shortages and infrastructure shortages. And again, we just talk as if we are just some general member of society sharing the resources with all other communities instead of specifically speaking to our agenda. And because we have ignored our own agenda to be a raceless member of a raceless post-civil rights society, we have lost every leverage in our general society now that we got to go beg our young people in the Southeast that at the pinnacle of their economic success and viability, when they get to go to college, we got to beg them now to go up to the Pacific Northwest. We got to beg them to go up to the Northeast because our businesses have no impact on the political structure. Our churches have no impact on the political structure, and our communities are still so isolated and divorced from the political process because we've adopted political strategies that have made our community inept. And so we need to stop putting the obligation on our young people. Where are all these civil rights veterans? Where I've been dragged to all these 50-year and 40-year celebrations of this, that, and the third that was supposed to bring the millennium to the Black community, and we still are politically isolated and butt naked in the cold in states like Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, all the southern states where still most of our population in this country lives.
Let's just to what you just said, and Ron has spelled out some things. I think what has happened to us over and over again is we gave away our heritage. They stole our history. Until we go back to our heritage and begin to understand and tying it to our quality of life, we've elected people who have not stood up and advocated for us. I mean, you got Tim Scott that's sitting up there who look like us, who says that there's no racism. There's no racism. But now that this is falling down, now he's feeling the heat. He's finding out who he really is, right? But we got people who got up there and got comfortable and have sold us out. But they did that in Reconstruction. We had Black elected officials there, and they did the same thing. You're not from here. I'm from here. He's from here. He's from here. After Reconstruction, the first Black was elected was Senator Leroy Johnson in the state of Georgia. And then Julian Bond, Michael Julian Bond's daddy. Julian Bond was elected, but they wouldn't even seat him here in Georgia. They wouldn't seat him after Reconstruction. They wouldn't seat him.
They should be the alternative. Got kicked out of the general city.
So I'm just saying, all of these things is that we have elected, because they had those voices. The voices, they were speaking up for the people. They were speaking up for the people. See, what we have gotten, even in the churches, we have forgotten about the least, the less, the lost, and left out. We don't look out for the least, the lost, the left out. We look out for ourselves, me, myself, and I. Me, myself, and I. But we don't understand that while you're looking out for me, myself, and I, you're eroding your base. because just like Tim Scott, he was a sellout. He sold out. Now he tried to come back home, but he ain't got no home because he sold out. And he was supposed to be there to speak for the people. For the people. We elected black people. We elected black people to vote and carry our water. And carry our water. To your point. But they didn't.
Well, I don't think that I hear this all the time, and you sound like Ice Cube talking about a black agenda.
Right.
Almost anything that's push is going to benefit Black America. And I don't think that we would ever be able to just say, okay, we're just going to have this is going to be the black agenda right here. Should we get some type of reparation? Yes, I believe so. But it needs to be such as education benefits, healthcare, things of that nature. You say that there was never anybody who advocated for black people. I believe that President Obama did. However, the things that he put into place was going to benefit African Americans. However, he couldn't just come out and say, hey, I'm just going to just do this for the black.
Why not? Trump talks to the Proud Boys. He talks to his people directly.
You know why? Because they can get away with it. We can't.
Well, when are we going to be full Americans then?
That's a good question. That's a good question. Just like right now, we sit up here talking about SEC getting people to vote, boycott the vote and everything. I mean, not boycott the vote, but boycott the SEC. We only have an act for us to even vote. Once that's gone, I mean,
which it is virtually now. The Voting Rights Act is.
We just, they just pretty much saying, okay, we'll let y'all go to the poll.
This time.
See,
let's be clear now. This time.
And what I think that what's going to wake people up is what I talked to Bishop Tate about this. We're not talking about the one important thing that I think they're trying to do. They're trying to get it to us to get them to have 2/3 of Congress, so they can do a Constitution convention.
Right. We talked about that last week. Because they want to do away with the 14th Amendment period. That takes everything away. Only thing they ain't dealing with is the First Amendment, freedom of speech. But they want to do away with that too.
And they're good.
Yeah.
Like you said, Trump says what he's going to do in X, Y, and Z. You know what they're good at also? They're good at us fighting against each other. Because just like with, everybody heard the thing about Kamala Harris saying that she's not going to do anything for black people. That's not what she said. It was more to that sentence, but they took out that one part and ran with it. And then you had people who ran with it. Because me and my brother, we got into it a little bit because he was like, Kamala Harris, I ain't gonna vote for her because she said she ain't gonna do nothing for black people. But you gonna vote for Cornel West? Cornel West wasn't gonna do that. He wasn't gonna. Right now in America, you cannot have a third party. We got two parties right now, and these are the two parties that we got to stick with. Anybody?
So you said we don't have an independent party?
No.
It's not in effect, right? But it's
there.
Okay. I understand what you're saying. We got the two-party system. You're gonna be a Democrat or Republican. I'm gonna jump in. I got to say something.
No, go ahead.
Tate, you just listen and learn today. What happened today? What happened is somebody was talking to me about what happened with the 5 major black counties where they voted that they can no longer have whether they're voting Democrat or Republican. That's not really a bad thing to me. Let me tell you why. Because there are some Republicans that I probably vote for. Because if I had to vote, honestly, really, if I had to vote in this race, I probably would have voted for Rosenberg to get rid of Jackson and to get rid of Bird Johnson. I would have switched over and voted for him to to get him in the race to run against. They do that all the time. They get to run against a Democrat.
Well, but you know the reason why they did that was to confuse the voter.
Well, but let me just say this: the voter, we have a responsibility, and our responsibility is to educate the voters. When I voted the first time at 18 years old, it was you could vote Democrat or Republican.
Yeah.
When my first vote, then they changed and said you got to vote all the Democratic slate or all the Republican slate, right? So I'm used to from when I started voting. I'm voting for a candidate. I need a Republican, Democrat. I'm just saying straight up, I'm not. I'm for the people. See, that's how we messed up, because you may have some people over there on that side that may be Republican and that really were looking out for the least, the lost, and left out. I mean, we wouldn't be where we are if it wasn't some Caucasians who helped during the struggle of the civil rights movement. Let's just be clear about it. So, what their party affiliation, I don't know. You don't know. But the reality was they were looking out for the least, the less, the lost, and the left out. So, I mean, we got to get to a point where we understand that. Look at the work that a person is doing. Look at what they're doing to run for. What are they fighting for? What issues they're fighting for that's going to help you as an individual, me as an individual, us as an individual. Because if you look at the Democratic Party, what are they fighting for? And overall, what are they standing for? You know, I mean, are they really standing for things that's going to benefit people? Really?
Well,
Go ahead, Deacon.
I just think that they're going for whoever their constituents they feel is their constituents. So if let's say it's I'm the representative from Wisconsin, and I'm looking forward to making sure that my people in Wisconsin got something, so that way I can stay getting elected, then that's what I'm gonna fight for. I'm not gonna fight for what's going on in New York. I'm not gonna fight for what's going on in South Carolina. Whereas the Republican Party, they just got a platform that says, okay, white males, we're gonna do everything that we can for them. And white women, you just better fall in line. Everybody else, we don't care what y'all think.
But it works.
It works. It works.
But why don't we have it? Well, I mean, the question is, why don't we have it? Why do we keep electing people, keep telling us that they can't do nothing?
Bishop Fan, you hit the important point. The Democratic Party is a big tent philosophy party. They are summing up and rounding up all non-white male political groups. So you have Asians, Hispanics, Blacks, Native Americans, women, poor folks, working class people. When you have all those different communities, I say this each and every week, even a single issue hits those different communities in unique ways. And you need to have political candidates who are articulate, intelligent, and caring enough that you can go around to unify each one of these communities on these issues, because Black people look at jobs differently than Hispanics do, than Asians do, and others. Like I say, I'm a constituent. My main issue as a laborer in Georgia is that I'm a walking coupon. I get paid 15% less than white workers in this state. And it has been that way in Georgia historically, all the way when Black people started getting paid. We were getting paid less as sharecroppers, domestics, tenant farmers, and all these other jobs that they were leaving out of government legislation that raised the minimum wage when they came out with the minimum wage. So we have always been written out. So when you have this big tent philosophy and you're just trying to speak generally to an issue and you refuse to call out the uniqueness of the Black condition as the bottom of the racial and economic caste system, everybody else built their success on being on top of us. And we continue to see, where are our multiracial allies coming in this fight? Are they sending their athletes in solidarity with us to the Pac-12 and to the Big Ten? Or is this only a concentrated Black issue? The Democratic Party should be having loads of multiracial coalitions descending on these southern states to show the African-American population. We got Joe Biden elected. Joe Biden was getting his behind handed to him in 2020 until the South Carolina primary came. That's and right. Black voters came out and showed out, and the Democratic Party continues to show us it's behind by not getting its full weight and infrastructure in these southern states to say we have to prop up the backbone of our party. So we have maintained a position of compromise and to take less just to have something in this country because we've been the bottom. We have got to abolish that thinking. We have got to raise our own vibration and our own spirituality to understand as children of God, we deserve the best. And we may have to endure as a people to get that best, to maintain our solidarity. But yet we were the only people in the history of this country to build a movement about not being the people anymore. We don't want to be judged by the color of our skin no more. We want to be judged as individuals. But the economic and political solidarity in this country is based on group economics, and racial groups make up that structure the most. So when we dissolved our own racial dynamic, we put ourselves in a permanent and perpetual state of dependency on other groups that continue to exploit on our own divisions.
Now, I'm gonna let you get back to the number, but the 85% black people are Democrat. 85%. That we make up that large of a percentage that makes a difference as to why do you think they're trying to do away with the black vote now? Mm-hmm. Because of our percentage. So that's why they're doing what they're doing now.
Because we were the only racial group to stand up at the polls against this tide of Trumpism and MAGA. We stood up against that. Other racial groups were nearly 50-50 on Trump in 2024, and we had 85% saying no.
Can I just say this, Ron? And I'm going to tell your point of selling us out. The Hispanics sold us out. They sold us out for the promise of not getting tips. And then he turned around and what did he do? Deported them. I mean, so let's talk about we were sold out by different classes of group because of what he promised. I'm deporting all of y'all. I'm getting all of y'all out of here. But now they're suffering, but then they want to run back. We want to be a part of the big tent, right? So you got to look at it from the perspective. And I understand what Ron is saying because I feel that pain because we keep being the nice one, but we keep being the one that's left out over and over again. And with that tape, he's going to do his job. He's going to give his numbers. Now give your numbers.
I want to make a comment.
Okay. Don't make a comment.
So we said a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah, we did.
We said a lot.
Yeah, we did.
And I think that's one of the problems. We just talk. Where is the instruction? Where are the instructions? Who's going to tell me these things? So we have this platform. So if there are 85% Democrats, and then we talk about maybe 25 don't vote. Again, my initial question was, how do we get that other percentage to vote?
Hold on, Bishop. You gonna tell them?
Hold on, Bishop. So we get them to vote. So let's say that my issue is not there. So do I not vote?
Yeah, you're not gonna vote.
So, but okay. Now I know we said we don't vote against Republicans. We don't do that. But if Keisha, and I'm not for Keisha, however. I will vote for her. I won't be one of those to sit on the sideline and say, I don't like Keisha, therefore I'm going to take Burt Jones or I'm going to take Jackson. So how do we tell that person who says, I don't like Keisha, so I'm going to sit this out? They need to understand that it's important. And so I think sometimes we put the yoke on our politician. We want them to be, give me a reason to vote. Give me a reason to vote. And the others would say, I'm not going to elect a black woman, period. I don't care who this guy is, but she will not get my vote. So I'm going out to vote. So are we making our politicians, they should have a message. I agree. I agree with that. I don't have a problem with that.
You do.
But if they don't have a message.
You do. You got a problem.
No, I don't. Yeah. If they don't have a message, What's to motivate us to vote?
There isn't a motivation.
But I also think
I told you you got a problem with it. And we all know you got a problem with it.
And it's, we talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
At churches, when we come to church, when we go to these places, where do we get this encouragement to vote? To go vote. And yes, go vote. Don't vote Republicans. I mean, what do we get
I'm gonna say this to you. I'm gonna say this. One, you can tell a leader horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And we know that by the way people voting down ballot. They'll vote. One lady who worked the poll told me an individual came in the polling place and asked, do they have to vote for everybody on the ballot? And they said, we can't tell you who to vote for or how to vote. She said she just wanted the man, a man, brother. He said he just wanted to vote for Keisha. And everything else on that ballot, he had no concern about nothing.
Well, maybe he didn't know about it.
No, wait a minute. Now, hold up for a minute now. That's an assumption on your part that he didn't know. It's left up to the end and every individual to take time to know who you voting for. That's your own responsibility, especially if you're going in to vote. Now, I ain't talking about, because you got some, when we started talking about the people who didn't vote, think about how many people dropped off voting down ballot. Now, that's real talk there. Everybody didn't vote down ballot. Everybody didn't vote down ballot. They may have voted for the governor's raise and the constitutional officer raise, and then they didn't vote for the judges. They just dropped off.
And to make it so bad, they make it easy for us. Because what I did was I printed up
the ballot. Yeah.
And I researched some of the people that I didn't know.
Right.
And some of the questions that they had on there about certain taxes and stuff like that, I researched to see was it beneficial to not me, but the community.
Right.
So that's the biggest problem, though. And you said about what's the message, right? You mentioned something about the message. I just want to bring up something real quick.
No, what I'm saying, whatever the message is, how do I get to hear the message? I don't care what the message is.
I mean,
hold on. A lot of times we don't vote or we don't understand the issues. Who's driving us to printing the ballot out? Where's the website to say, hey, you can print the ballot out? Where's the website to say that early voting is here? We know this stuff, but where's the billboard? I think you said if the NCAA, what is it? NAACP, if they put in a marketing campaign to get the vote out, and these are some issues you need to look for, come to our website. Come to the Urban League's website.
That's you.
I think that's an excuse, though.
Yeah, it is an excuse. That's you.
That's not an excuse.
Okay.
The reason why Republicans are so effective at adding administrative tasks to the act of voting is that every task you add, every additional step you make a voter take to vote, it increases the chance they won't vote. We're overworked as a population. We're underpaid as a population. We're sick. We're suffering. We have anxiety issues. Our families.
Voter suppression.
Voter, and also on top of voter suppression, the closing down of polling precincts, eliminating early voting dates, making it harder and harder to vote. So when you add up all these little minute microaggressions against voting, it can lead up to having 25% of the eligible, 40% of the eligible voting population to stay at home. That's effective. And the only mechanism we have in America to rectify issues of civic engagement is telling the individual to get better. Well, you need to take a day off work. You need to stay in that line for 8 hours. You need to get somebody to watch your 8 kids while you in line. You need to find a way to show that your vote is important. We have done nothing to institutionally support the people who we claim their vote is so important. And so anytime you want people to do something for you, when you want people to come to your party, you don't sit there and tell them what they need to do. You sit there and tell them, I got food for you. I got music for you. All you need to do is come and show up, and that's for a party. But when you want to vote, you want to go tell everybody else to do everything on their own because voting is so important because your grandma died in 1917 trying to vote. As true as that is, that has been an ineffective and debilitating strategy that keeps our population of people at home because we keep guilting them into voting instead of supporting them into voting.
Or giving them a purpose, a real purpose.
And the purpose.
Yeah, the purpose is where it's at. You know, it's the purpose. Why do I need to vote? How does this benefit me? How does this benefit me? Now, to your point in terms of how do we get the message out? You put it on the website, folks they ain't computer literate. They ain't looking at no website. I mean, the responsibility is each one teach one. As you know, then you teach the next one. And you teach the next one. But each one teach one. The church used to be affected by doing that during the 60s because people went to church. People don't go to church no more, right? So there's no place where people really just congregate to get the information, right? So to your point is each one in your home. That's why I said they took our heritage, took our history, we gave out in our home. We knew about voting because our parents talked to us about voting in our home. We were 18 years old. When you turn 18 years old, you voting. I mean, but we ain't doing that no more. I mean, so when you're talking about each one, teach one, like to early voting and runoff, they said it's going to be 3 weeks. It's 1 week. It's the 6th to the 12th, 1 week. You got 1 week to early vote, but we educating now. We educating people now because there's some people agree with what we say, some people disagree with what we're saying. But the reality of it is, and the bottom line is, to your point is, and you're going to give all those numbers, and the numbers would have been great, is to how many people are registered to vote, but how many people are going to vote. And the other thing that I put in there, how many people are voting down ballot. Because see, people call the preacher and they'll say, Rev, who should I vote for? Rev, what does these ballot amendment mean? Guess who don't know? Many of the preachers don't know. So they can't tell you because they don't know. They ain't educated themselves. So I mean, but the older preachers, they knew this is who we're gonna be voting for. This is who we're gonna do this, who we're gonna do that, because the church was the center hub for the community. And everybody came to the church, they got the message. And if they weren't in church, when the people left the church, they took the message back to the community. And that's your missing link. They took our history, but we gave them our heritage. When we gave away the power of the black church, the power of the black church, when we gave that up, trying to build cathedrals and do all these other things, but the message that was coming out to help the people was not there.
And the people have responded by staying home.
And
that's the relationship between a people and its leadership, a people and its institutions. When institutions drew you out because they met your need, that's what drew the people out. Because they were getting their needs met. They were going home with something that they lacked. They left home without it, came home with it because they were able to go to the community center that had something for them. And again, I love that black people like to believe that we just like everybody else, that everybody's just the same, and that what works for the goose is going to work for the gander. But I reject that. I completely reject. And there are unique elements about being black in Georgia, about being black in America, that we need to reintroduce in our language, in our heritage, in the way that we do things, so that people find value for being black in this country, that people find value in black political participation. Like I say, as soon as I get through voting, the Democratic Party throw me away. They ain't got nothing to say to me again until it's voting time once again. Have they raised my wages? Have they given me government-sponsored health care? Have they fixed the mass incarceration system? Oh yeah, let's ignore all of that, but let's go out and vote for them.
Well, okay, so you say that the Democratic Party turn their back on us, right?
Like experts every time.
So, but why didn't we make them face us? Why didn't we? You say that people don't go vote because there isn't anything for them to go vote for. I think you should be going to vote because it's something, at least they giving us the illusion that they're going to give us what we need. Whereas Republicans, they just basically telling you, no, we're not giving you that. You know, but if we made them, like Martin Luther King made Johnson give us the civil rights. They made them. But just like I was telling you earlier when we was in the car, Lincoln didn't want to free the slaves. If he was able to save the Union, he wouldn't have, we'd still be in bondage. However, I just think that even with the obstacles, we still have to push to go out there and vote. I mean, because yes, I'm from Buffalo, New York, okay? And it was the crazy part about the areas for election. And I remember growing up where you didn't have school on election day because they had the voting machines inside the schools because people, from the neighborhood went to the school, the parents and stuff, they can come to the school and vote. However, now, you might have one precinct hall here where, this Oakland City, they call this area Oakland City, but instead of them having it at this church to be able to vote, you got to go to Buckhead in order to vote for the city of Atlanta. But what's important to me, I'm going to make it happen. So if it's meant for me to go vote because it's important to me, I'm going to make my way up to Buckhead. Because we make our way, if they're giving a free concert in Buckhead at Piedmont Park, if they're going to have a free rap concert, we're going to be there. If we, everybody talking about, he gave, that Trump gave him a stimulus. But you paid taxes on that. The following year, you had to claim it. So
make it plain.
I think the biggest threat that we have to Black America is the Black matter. The one that feeds off of, telling the community, don't go out there and vote because you're on the Democratic plantation.
Right.
I'm not on no Democratic plantation, but I'm thinking about what's best for my family and my people that I love, because I'm fine financially and everything. I'm stable. However, I got cousins, I got aunts, uncles who need the medical Obamacare or ACA.
Mm-hmm. I got something fun for you for your aunt, and I'm gonna tell you about it after we get off. But listen, let me tell you like this right here. Hey, this ain't nothing but straight talk. To the great friend, the preacher man, and Ronald Allen Tate, Bishop Tate, who you still got a question you want to ask for?
No, I'm good.
You are? You sure?
I'm fine.
I want to make sure you all right.
I'm good.
You sure?
I'm positive.
All right. So you gonna start telling people to vote? You gonna start telling them that?
I tell them to vote.
So you gonna tell them that the runoff is between the 6 and the 12?
Remember, I'm a campaign. I work with someone's campaign.
I ain't asked you all that. I'm asking you, are you gonna tell the people that they got to vote?
Of course, I'm gonna tell someone because I need them to vote for my candidate, if nothing else.
Lord have mercy, Jesus. This man just missing the whole point. I said, are you gonna tell these people when the early voting is? I ain't talking about your candidate.
Oh, okay.
And them folks don't care about your candidate.
June 6th through, I think, June 12th. Early voting. Make sure you go to the Georgia voting website if you don't know, and vote early, because if you go on the day of the polls, we don't know what's going to happen, what type of crowd it's going to be. And in those days, I was out holding signs. It's easy to go early. Go and vote early. Thank you.
June 6th through 12th. That's all I asked them to do, y'all. The dates of June 6th.
Go to the website. To the
June 6th through the 12th. You don't have to go to the website. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you that early voting
is June 6th through the 12th.
Can I
Why can't you just tell the people when the voting is June 6th
No, you
through
can't
the 12th?
tell them.
I can't tell who to vote for.
No, you can't tell them who to vote for. You can't tell them who to vote for. Just vote. Just vote. Please, just vote. Go to the poll and vote June 6th through 12th. And the 16th is the day of the election.
Right.
You working a campaign and you don't have that information to pass on to the people. Lord have mercy. And you ask why people don't vote. What the message?
No, I didn't understand what you were asking.
Only thing I can say, I know you have a difficult time dealing with him. I know you do. I do every week. I love him though. Love him. We gonna teach him though. We gonna teach him. He gonna get it.
Is the broadcast about to end?
Yes, sir. We finna close it out.
Can I
Yes.
say something real quick?
Yes, yeah.
Hey, I just want to say, Bishop Fan, Bishop Tate, thank you for inviting me to come on here.
Ron Allen.
Ron Allen, I appreciate you going back and forth with me a little bit. But I really enjoyed myself. Hopefully you'll let me come back again and go Knicks.
Oh Lord,
There you go.
see there you go. Only reason I'm gonna let you do that one, cause Walt Frazier is my cousin. Go Knicks! All right, y'all. Hey, this ain't been nothing but Straight Talk with yours, who the great fan, the preacher man, and Ron Allen, Bishop Tate, and Deacon Jemison. Thank you for being a guest today, Deacon, being a part of the program. Hey, this ain't been nothing but what? Straight Talk.
Want to be a guest on Straight Talk? Email Greg Fan at FANN922@Comcast.net or call 404-308-0795. Join us again for another episode of Straight Talk with Shannon Jones and Greg Pan, the Preacher Man.